In this tutorial, I will teach you how to graph a linear relation when given an equation. So here's the question. Graph the following linear relation, y equals negative 2x plus 3. The first thing you're going to want to do is make sure your equation is in slope-y-intercept form. That means the y must be isolated. Now let's take a look at ours. Is y isolated? Yep. That means our equation is in slope-y-intercept form. This is going to make it easier for us to graph. Why do we want to use slope-y-intercept form, and why does it make it easier for us to graph? Well, in slope-y-intercept form, we can easily identify the slope and the y-intercept. So what we're going to do is going to take a look at our equation, and we're going to identify what our slope is. Now in this case, the slope is the coefficient of x, which is negative 2. So we're going to put m equals negative 2, so we've identified our slope. Now we're also going to identify the y-intercept, which is the b value, and that would be 3 in this case. So we're just going to state that our b value is 3. Now in terms of slope, when we graph, we use the rate triangle, or we use rise over run to describe the slope. Now we don't have a fraction here, so it's hard to see what the rise and the run is. So a nice thing to do before you actually get to graphing is rewrite your slope so that it's in fraction form. And you rewrite negative 2 as a fraction by writing negative 2 over 1. Now that it's in fraction form, it's easy to identify that our rise is negative 2 and our run is 1. Now with this information that we have here, we can now go to the graph and graph our line. So where do we start? Well, we start with the y-intercept value of 3. So we're going to start on the y-axis. We're going to go 1, 2, 3 and plot our y-intercept. So that's the first piece of information. Second piece is the slope of negative 2 over 1. So what we're going to do is from this point, we're going to rise 2 and run 1. Now the question is, do I run 1 this way or do I run 1 this way? Well, if I run 1 this way, take a look at the line that you get. This indicates that it's a positive slope, but let's look at our slope. It's a negative, which means that when we rise 2, we should run 1 to the left. Therefore getting a negative slope, which is what we're looking for. So what we're going to do is going to rise 2 and go 1 to the left. And we're going to continue that. Rise 2 and 1 to the left. And we're going to keep getting some more points. Rise 2, run 1 to the left, until we see a definite pattern. Now I can go the other way as well. I can go down 2 and over 1. Again, rise is still 2, run is still 1. Let's see. Rise 2, run 1. And I can get some more points. Rise 2, run 1. Just until I get a clear enough pattern. What we're going to do now is we're going to take our ruler out, and we're going to graph our line. Draw a line right through all the points we just graphed. Now make sure that your line extends beyond the points that you've plotted, because we just picked some points to give us a general trend of the linear relation. And make sure that you have arrows on both ends of your lines. The only other thing is you want to make sure you label your line, give it its name, y equals negative 2x plus 3. And just do a double check to make sure you've labeled your x-axis and your y-axis, and that you've labeled your scale. And that is how you graph a linear relation when given an equation.